Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog, which I am really going to try to make a short one. I know the last couple of vlogs have been a little on the lengthy side, and I can tell you in advance that my next vlog definitely is going to be on the lengthy side. So I'm going to try to do a short one today. Also, it's because you're seeing this on Monday. I'm recording it on Friday, going into the weekend, so I don't want to spend my weekend doing a lot of video editing or in fact recording this video, because I want to get out early today because I have some stuff I need to go out and do. So here we go. First item, this is interesting, it has to do with the unlawful alien invasion of our country through the southern border that the federal government refuses to close. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says state will build its own border wall. That's it. You don't have to read the article, which is very short. I link to all these articles in the description, so you can read it if you want to. But that's basically the whole story. The federal government is not doing anything, so we have this terrific governor, from what I can see of him, in Texas, at least as far as immigration goes. He's going to build his own wall. If Biden won't build the wall, then Abbott is going to do the job for him. So congratulations, Godspeed, Governor Abbott. That's one item. Now, the second item is just a short update on Maricopa County, the ballot audit. I did a pretty lengthy vlog the other day, so this is very short. I had said, well, one of those stories that I covered was that 6 delegations from 6 states were coming to watch the audit, to observe, to ask questions. Well, that's now up to 9. Here's the headline. Breaking, freight train of state delegations coming Friday. 9 states will visit Arizona Audit Center. And another little piece of news, only 1 ballot left to count. So this is Friday. I assume that these 9 states are already there, unless he means next, the writer of the article means next Friday, but I think it's today when I'm recording this. But more important, just 1 ballot left, only 1 ballot left to count. They should be able to finish that today, I would expect. Actually, I know, because if you look at the photo with the article, you can see that they've removed so many of those round tables and they are putting up these long tables to do the analysis of the documents. In other words, the counting done, and I'm going to add something about that in a moment from this article, but it looks like the counting done, so they're going to put a lot of tables out there to examine the paper now and the markings on the ballot, not just for whom the ballot was cast, but also whether well, for instance, I'm not going to go through a long list, I'm trying to keep this short today, but just one example, whether the ovals were filled in by hand or by a machine, and whether some of these ballots have identical ways that they were filled in. I'm going to discuss this in detail in my next vlog, so I'll be brief today. That's why it's going to be so long next time, because I'm going to go through all this in detail and reply to a commenter, by the way, at the same time. But for now, let me just read from the article, which is very short, and also show you a tweet from Christina Bobb. She's a reporter for One American News Network. Here's the text. This is the whole article. The first ever full forensic audit of Maricopa County's 2020 election is almost finished with the hand counting process of the audit. There is only 1 untouched pallet of ballot boxes remaining as of the time this article was written. And this was written, by the way, on Thursday, because he's talking about the future visit on Friday. So again, I expect everything to be done, at least that part, well, all the ballots to have been counted and imaged by the end of today, Friday. We'll see what happens. More paper evaluation tables have been completely set up, and they plan to increase the speed of that process. The hand recount is finishing shortly, but the paper evaluation will take a few weeks longer. This process should be completed by the end of June. Shortly after, they will provide the nation a report with their findings. And that leads me into this tweet. It's in the same article from Christina Bobb. Here is the tweet. If there is anything less than 2.1 million ballots in the Arizona audit, it was a fraudulent election and must be decertified. Well, she's partly right. As I've said in the past, well, first of all, I always forget. Full disclaimer or full disclosure, I'm a conservative. Always keep that in mind when you evaluate whatever I say. But also, Christina, well, that's why I try to be fair. But maybe I'm not sometimes. Go ahead, point it out in the comments. I always let you know my political leanings, so it's an open invitation to keep my political leanings in mind when I say something, okay? So, and I always back it up with links, whatever I say, if I give you a statistic, unless it's so obvious or well-known or so easily Googled that I don't bother. Anyways, getting back to her tweet, if there is anything less than 2.1 million ballots in the Arizona audit, it was a fraudulent election and must be decertified. Again, I try to be fair. She's partly right, but not completely right. Christina Bobb obviously is a fellow conservative, but Christina Bobb misses a couple points, which I will now make. So first point, if there is anything fewer than 2.1 million ballots, and that could be if there are anything fewer than 2.1 million ballots, it was a fraudulent election and must be decertified. I would say it depends on how many fewer ballots there are. If the number of missing ballots is fewer than the margin of Biden's victory, then that really doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything because however many ballots were missing. Well, it also has to be, again, being fair, it has to be considered in conjunction with whatever else might have been found. The whole point is that there has to be things wrong that, when all added together, exceeds Biden's margin of victory. If not, then there is, there is an indication to be more careful running future elections. But other than that, as far as contesting the election, that ends right there. But just sticking with Christina Bobb's tweet, just for the sake of argument, we'll assume that everything else is okay and we're talking only about the number of ballots actually found and counted in the audit, and that the number, for only the sake of argument, that the number of missing ballots exceeds the margin of victory for Joe Biden. The obvious question is, whom were the missing ballots for? For which candidate? If the ballots that are missing were all cast for Trump, do you see the problem? But if those ballots are missing and cannot be found, then there is no way to know. So I would say then she would have a point that maybe you have to decertify the election in Georgia, or at least Maricopa County, if that's possible. I don't even know if that's legally possible. I'm going to get into that more in a moment, but that would be the implication, and those are the things that I think she missed, again, as I try to be fair. Now on to today's subject, which is to reply to a comment. I said yesterday that I'd gotten a comment, actually a request, to discuss a certain topic from Turbo Jones. Here is the comment from Turbo Jones. Please discuss in a future topic the Biden legacy if an audit changes one state, two states, etc. If the dominoes progressively fall, will the moderate Democrats in the party withdraw their support? How would this all play out? So first of all, I think I have to say, because I don't want this video to be censored. So first of all, before I reply to Turbo Jones's comment, I am assuming that because YouTube did not delete or remove the comment, that it's okay for me to comment myself. that I won't have my video taken down, but just to be sure, I will say once again, because they take down the videos, the vlogs of anybody who questions the results of the 2020 election. So let me say, as I've said numerous times, I am not questioning the election. I accept the results. More than that, I think Joe Biden is the most wonderful president we've ever had. We are so very, very lucky to have him as our president. But Turbo Jones has asked me to speculate on a what if. It's a what if question. So even Turbo Jones is not questioning the election. He's saying, well, what if this were to happen? So that's what I'm going to say. So here's the topic. I assume I can discuss the topic. If not, YouTube, you should let me know before you take down the video and give me, well, or more important, give me a strike, because I already have one. If you give me another one, then I can't post for 2 weeks. Last time it was 1 week, now 2 weeks. So let's be fair, YouTube, but I assume that I'm allowed to answer a hypothetical question. We're not questioning the election. This is a hypothetical question. So answering Turbo Jones's hypothetical question, please discuss on a future topic the Biden, what would the Biden legacy be if an audit changes 1 state, 2 states, etc. Again, as I was just saying about Christina Bobb, it would depend on what the results show. We should not, as I've said in the past, we should wait for facts. I always wait for facts, so I'm not going to speculate. As I've been saying, it's really a what-if question. There's really no way to really know what it would do to Biden's legacy, but if it were to show only hypothetically, I'm not questioning the election, then his legacy would depend on what he does, and furthermore, what Kamala Harris does, whether he accepts that the results were wrong, that he was wrongly elected, or whether he refuses to accept it and refuses to, well, for one thing, resign. And the third one would be that he admits what happened but refuses to resign, because under the law he is the president and under the Constitution, which is a problem. If I can digress for a moment, our founding fathers, they created a fantastic, a wonderful Constitution. Apparently, though, it never occurred to them that there could ever be a problem with an election. So the Constitution is silent on that. So what would happen if this hypothetical situation were to occur? I assume that it would go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, and I don't envy them at all, would have to come to some kind of opinion. It would depend on what the opinion is, and then it would in turn depend on what Joe Biden does, and then future generations it would depend on what they think of whatever Joe Biden did or did not do in light of the results. Now, if there's what's the other question here? Will the moderate Democrats in the party withdraw their support? How would this all play out? Again, there's really no way to know what the Democrats would do. It's hypothetical, total guess. I would assume that the moderate Democrats would be fair. Somebody like a Joe Manchin or a Kirsten Sinema would be fair. And other moderate Democrats, a few that are in the Senate and the House, that, well, or wherever, yeah, that they would be fair. Whatever the fair course to take is, again, we don't know, because this is a hypothetical situation which may never happen. And I have to say again, so YouTube doesn't censor me, it's a hypothetical situation that I wouldn't expect to happen. But the reason we can speculate on this or even talk about it is there are going to be future presidential elections. So let me put it that way. What if a future recount would show an election between, say, a candidate X and a candidate Y were proven to have been fraudulent, what would happen? Let me put it that way. So YouTube, I am not even talking about the 2020 election. I am talking about, and this is what I meant in what I've been saying so far on this vlog, I'm talking about a hypothetical future election. And I would add right now, I think it justifies a constitutional amendment. I think it justifies either all the state legislatures or the Senate and the House coming together and passing an amendment right now, enacting the Senate and the House and a sufficient number of states to enact an amendment now to cover that situation if it ever does occur. So you see, YouTube, this is an important subject and something that it justifies being discussed regardless of what happened or did not happen in the 2020 election. But of course, we all know what happened. Biden won and nobody disputes it. Okay, YouTube. But liberal Democrats, just from everything I've seen from their behavior so far, they will fight tooth in a future election, should this ever hypothetically happen. In that future election, that may never come, I would expect liberal Democrats, from what I've seen in their behavior in just these last 5 months, to fight tooth and nail to keep that president, if it's a president of their own party, in office. Now, if it's a Republican president, they will fight tooth and nail to have that president removed and replaced by a Democrat until the future election, when the reverse happens. They would do everything they could to get the Republican out, but if we have, or were to have, an identical situation in the future where it was a question of removing a Democratic president, they would fight tooth and nail to keep that president in office, that Democratic president. In other words, they would just adjust their behavior to the situation, to whether the president is a Democrat or a Republican or some other party. I guess we could have a third party in the future. So that's it. That's really all I have to say, except once again, wonderful election. Everything was fair, and we are so lucky. Well, I know you all agree with me that conservatives or liberals alike, we are so lucky to have Joe Biden as our president. But I would even be luckier if you would all give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Share with anybody you think would also like it. Any comments, suggestions for future topics, such as Turbo Jones just did, or questions, comment section below the video, the screen. And you could also subscribe. I love getting new subscribers. You can visit my other channels, my hot dog recipe channel, my music channel, links in the description also. But most of all, I really appreciate the time that you spent with me, and I have to wonder, won't find out till I edit this video, whether I really did keep it short. I'm pretty sure I kept it shorter than the other two videos, the two previous ones. I could be wrong, though, so I hope you'll forgive me if I'm wrong again, and come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. I look forward to seeing all of you again, and until I do see all of you again, bye.